All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're breaking down a really classic narrative, one that's packed with suspense, betrayal, and, of course, a little romance. We're going to be unpacking a story that takes us all the way from the sparkling chandeliers of a luxurious mansion right down to the gritty shadows of an abandoned warehouse. It's a tale that perfectly balances this lighthearted banter with some incredibly high-stakes tension, and we are going to look at exactly how it builds that tension step by step. Now, this is the question that basically hooks us from the very beginning, right? What happens when an unbreakable bodyguard meets an unstoppable force? Because on one hand, you have a security expert whose entire life is defined by strict discipline and, well, danger. And on the other, you have a woman who lives completely in the spotlight, she's used to getting her own way, and kind of treats life like a giant game. When you force these two completely different worlds into a single space, sparks are absolutely guaranteed to fly.
Act 1. Clashing personalities.
Talk about your classic opposites attract setup. We've got Ravi, he's this tough, super serious security expert who would literally gladly face down armed attackers, but he harbors a pretty funny secret. He is incredibly awkward around women. Seriously, just a smile from a girl is enough to make him blush. And then we have his brand new assignment, Aisha. She's the daughter of one of the richest men in the country, social media famous, just lounging on a couch in huge sunglasses, sipping juice through a straw. It is this immediate, vibrant contrast between rigid duty and totally carefree luxury.
You can totally see this dynamic in their literal first conversation. Aisha looks up from her magazine, smirks, and goes, "Are you my new babysitter?" And Robbie, standing perfectly straight and just entirely unamused, responds, "No, ma'am, I'm here to protect you." She waves her hand in front of his face, asking if the guy ever smiles, and he simply replies that he's there for safety, not entertainment. It's just a flawless clash of worldviews established instantly through this quick, witty banter. Which, of course, leads to the infamous bee incident. During a park photo shoot, Aisha decides she wants to test her deeply serious new bodyguard. So she whispers to her assistant to watch this, and then just screams that a bee is attacking her. Ravi jumps into action, fiercely swatting at the empty air, looking completely awkward, but utterly determined, only to realize there is no bee. The whole crew loses it. Aisha finds it highly amusing, asking him if he even has a sense of humor. But Ravi's response? "My job is to keep you safe, not laugh at silly jokes." This prank perfectly nails how amused she is by his intense, almost robotic dedication to the job. Moving on to Act 2, the escalation. Now, check out how the timeline of danger surrounding Aisha really starts to tighten up here. First, it's just a simple paparazzi rush that overwhelms her, which allows Ravi to step in and, show his competence. But then it escalates fast. A motorbike speeds toward their car, the rider screaming, "Aisha, I love you," which forces this crazy high-speed evasion. Next, they're on a shopping trip, where Aisha is playfully putting a funky disguise hat on Ravi, and he actually spots a stalker in a black hoodie watching their every move. And finally, the midnight shadow in the garden. Even though that shadow turned out to just be Aisha sneaking out for a walk, the atmosphere is heavy now. The threat is closing in, and the story absolutely refuses to let us relax. But then, we get the critical call. This changes the whole game. Ravi's boss, Mr. Kapoor, calls with some breaking news. The threat isn't just a crazy fan. It's an inside job. Someone close to Aisha is orchestrating the whole thing. And the real kicker, Kapoor orders Ravi to keep this a total secret from Aisha. Think about the dramatic irony that creates. Ravi now has to look at everyone, the house staff, her driver, her best friends, as a potential enemy, all while having to hide this terrifying truth from the exact woman he is supposed to protect. But, turns out, Aisha is hiding secrets of her own. In a super pivotal garden scene, she pulls Ravi aside, and her playful guard just drops completely. She confesses that she's been receiving these strange, terrifying letters. We're not talking fan mail here. These contain deeply personal details that only a close friend would actually know. The sender is threatening to expose her dark secrets, and she's been hiding it from everyone, especially her father, out of pure fear. This confession fundamentally shifts their relationship, right? They aren't as bodyguard and client anymore. They're allies sharing a really heavy burden. Which drops us right into Act 3, the investigation and betrayal. So, how does Ravi actually piece this together? He goes full detective mode. First, he notices Aisha's incredibly stylish best friend, Priya, whispering urgently and nervously in Aisha's room. Red flag. Second, he gets intel from Mr. Kapoor that Priya is actually drowning in massive financial debt, which gives her a very clear motive. Third, he takes action. He tails Priya and catches her having a hushed, secret meeting with a mysterious guy at a local cafe, eventually tracking that guy back to a remote warehouse.
The puzzle pieces are finally falling into place. Then the villains slip up. Ravi gets an anonymous phone call late at night. A deep, distorted voice delivers this chilling warning. If you want to keep Aisha safe, stay out of this, or you'll both regret it. And this is the catalyst. Instead of backing down, this threat actually forces Ravi to take immediate, aggressive action. He realizes passive surveillance just isn't going to cut it anymore. The stalker knows he's watching. Which brings us to the absolute climax of the story. It is wild. As Aisha leaves a party, this black car that had been slowly circling suddenly just speeds right toward her. A group of men jump out and grab her. She screams, but Ravi is already there. He yells for her to get down, tackles one of the men with a powerful punch, dodges a swing, and delivers a quick kick to another. It's a fast-paced, ridiculously high-stakes brawl where Ravi physically proves his absolute loyalty to her. He fights them off so intensely that they actually retreat into the night. And honestly, this gives us the massive emotional payoff we've been waiting for. Following the attack, a completely emotional Aisha breaks down in tears. She hugs Ravi and confesses, "I feel safe only when I'm with you." Ravi, clearly overwhelmed by his own emotions at this point, tells her he feels the exact same way. This is the precise moment their strict professional boundary permanently dissolves into romance. That shared trauma and his unwavering protection finally allow their true feelings to surface. Finally, we hit Act 4, resolution and payoff. To really get why this happened, we have to look at the psychology here. I mean, why would a best friend turn into a blackmailer? Well, look at Aisha's world, seemingly perfect, filled with fame, fortune, and constant adoration. Then look at Priya's reality, buried in massive debt and just consumed by jealousy. Priya resented Aisha's perfect life. She worked with a shady group to ruin Aisha's career and extort money from her wealthy family. It's your classic tale of envy curdling into a full-blown crime.
So let's look at how this builds to the final takedown. Ravi orchestrates a meeting with Priya at a remote location. When he hits her with the truth, her fake nervous smile just drops. She coldly justifies everything, saying she needed the money while Aisha had it all. And then, suddenly, 3 of Priya's hidden accomplices lunge at Ravi. But Ravi, always the strategist, is prepared. He uses his incredible skills to overpower them, fighting purely for Aisha's safety. And right as he does, police sirens start wailing in the distance. Ravi had secretly called for backup beforehand. Checkmate.
The aftermath? Absolutely satisfying. Priya and her crew are hauled off. The external threat is entirely neutralized. Ravi goes back to the mansion where an anxious Aisha literally runs to him. And there, surrounded by the quiet safety of her home, they finally share their first kiss. Fast forward just a bit, and they announce their relationship to the world, with Aisha's father, Mr. Kapoor, fully supporting the hero who saved his daughter. A love built on genuine trust, bravery, and sacrifice is finally allowed to blossom. And that wraps up this explainer. But I want to leave you with a lingering thought. This story shows us that sometimes the absolute greatest danger comes not from the strangers lurking in the shadows, but from those closest to us, smiling right in our faces. So, take a page out of Ravi and Aisha's book and ask yourself, who is truly guarding your secrets? Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive, and remember, keep your eyes peeled and your circle tight.